Side, I mean, obviously you had a plan for her and lots of fouls, but how has she improved?
Well, I think Alea and her staff here, we kind of have her playing to her strengths, and that's important. If she will play to her strengths around the hoop and run, rebound, finish, and defend inside, she's an All-American when she plays to those strengths. And she's we don't have a lot of size, so it's going to be a tough matchup for us. And then Jory Allen fights very, very, I'm always proud of how hard Jory fights, but Jory is a 6-footer and Alea's got much more size. So it's an important position for this year's UConn group. And she's good. She's very good.
Coach, this was Gino's 1196th win. There was a lot of obviously made out of what Tara did last night. Gino gets a lot of press, but do you think enough has been made over what he's been able to do in 6 fewer years?
People say I make this statement, and I believe it firmly, that what they have done here, and this isn't because Gino's my friend, okay? Everybody thinks, well, Gino and Dougie, they drink together, they break bread together. So this is what they did here. Is this has been the best achievement. How do I say it? They've done the most of any intercollegiate basketball program in the history of basketball, men or women. And people don't want to acknowledge that because there's gender bias is in this world we live in. But I'm alive long enough to have watched Coach Wooden's teams, all right? And I love Coach Wooden, and I'm not trying to, disparage Coach Wooden. But if you go back and study who UCLA played during their streak, how many times they were away from Pauley Pavilion and the Pac-8 back then, not Pac-12, Pac-8. They came to Chicago once a year, and they went to Notre Dame every other year. But basically, what they did in that streak, was not appreciated. It was not appreciated, okay? So now when what the program's done here, 11 national championships, all right? And now, again, compare why people argue that, this is just women's basketball. That's gender bias, just right out of the blocks. It's just, you try to go, gender's got nothing to do with the spirit of an athlete, the competitiveness of an athlete, what it takes to put a basketball team together. It's got nothing to do with gender. It's hard. And so when you look at what they've done here, now just let's talk schedule, all right? Of his 1,100 whatever wins, and I do know him well enough to know that he doesn't care about that. He cares a lot about those 11 banners, but he doesn't care about 1202 or 1203 or 1204. He cares about those 11 banners. And if he had to cut his head open, probably trying to get a 12th. All right? So that's what, but back to schedule. If you look at who UConn beat in that winning streak, and I'm coming back to the winning streak and what this program has achieved. And what did it take? Maybe the last couple games before we got a little something on TV? Tara's got to get to 1202 to start making a little bit of noise. And again, I'm not anyone. When I played at DePaul for Coach Meyer and graduated from DePaul and started coaching, I never in my life imagined that I was looking back on this 50 years later and fighting to get female athletes recognized. I didn't ever imagine that. That wasn't something you just come out of college ball thinking. But once you get in it, and once you start doing it, and once you start realizing how hard it is and how tough it is, then you realize it's got nothing to do with gender, and that's what, and because women didn't have an opportunity to compete, so that's why Title IX does matter and why it's so very, very important. So again, you asked me a simple question, and I'm going on and on and on here after a 30-point whacking, but still, it's just. And I'll go to my death. I'll argue with anybody in any bar, in any town in the world, in the United States of America, about which college program has done the most. And it is UConn, all right, and not UCLA's men, and I don't care what anybody wants to bring it, because I think I just gave you some pretty good facts, and I got to see Coach Wooden's teams. All right, I got to see Coach Wooden's teams close up, and Coach Wooden's been very, very good to me personally. You know, he's helped me through his assistant Gary Cunningham more than him. But so I don't want this to be at Coach Wooden, but I just think it's very important that it does get recognized here in stores and across the country.
So Doug, knowing Gino as well as you do you think that whether he's number 1 or number 2 on that list is going to impact when he decides to stop coaching?
Well, first of all, I mean, I can't talk about when he's going to stop coaching. I mean, I can only talk about when I'm going to stop coaching. And everybody asks me, how long are you going to do this? And I say, when the big guy whacks me or the little guy whacks me. The big guy's God and the little guy's DePaul. So when I get whacked, I'm done, all right? So, but right now, I can't, you're going to have to ask him, you know, what he's thinking. We don't have those discussions. I mean, we're trying to win a game. We're trying to beat St. John's on Thursday. And that's how I look at this. And I don't care how many, I mean, when you do this as a coach too, you're not counting the big number. You're looking at your last game and you're looking at your next game. And most of us that try to get something done, that's what you look at. You know, and I'm in the huddle with these players tonight in the fourth quarter just saying, look, would you rather be practicing here right now for St. John's in front of 10,000 people, or would you rather be back in our dungeon gym, you know, practicing at home? Right? This is practice right now, and you couldn't have a better environment. Think about the environment. We were blessed to play in front of 55,000 this year at Kinnick Stadium, and that was awesome. And this is, you know, this is 10,000 people here today. I mean, the lights were on, but I mean, this is special for our women. I mean, we came here to compete better than we competed. And we're not proud of how we compete. I mean, I shouldn't say we're not proud, because the kids fought, our players fought, so I can't say that I'm not. But we came here to get a score better than the score was, but still, you know, this is, you don't just put 10,000 people to watch women. You know, you don't just do that. It just doesn't happen. It's hard to get people to watch women play sports. So again, I'm ranting and raving here about women's athletics, and they need. And I didn't even think. I'm sorry, I was a little late. I wasn't even thinking about him. I didn't even know that anybody would want to talk to a coach after we all swing 30. So I was just getting ready to go get my muscle there, tail between our legs. But at any rate, you know, I'm just thrilled that you're all here, that you're covering it, and you care about women's hoops. And so that's just a thrill for me to have all you guys, you men and women, care about women's hoops.
One more big picture question for you. Gino said there's some analytics, and there have been a couple medical studies to show there might be a link of some kind between the pandemic and this rash of injuries we've been seeing over the last few years in women's basketball. Are you concerned about that? Is that something that you've seen, and is there anything that can be?
I don't know enough about the empirical evidence. I just do know that the rhythms of preparation and how we went about keeping our players fit and prepared for the end of a season into the next season got broken badly. You know, those rhythms got broke. And I know from our perspective at DePaul, and when I say this, it sounds like I never want to use the pandemic as an excuse. But at the same time, I still think we're recovering. I mean, we had a rhythm of how we were doing things and a culture of how things were going, and that got broke with the pandemic. And you know, so I don't know about necessarily just the injuries, but I know the pandemic has had an effect on everybody here.
Do you see a difference in Paige now versus when you first saw her as a freshman?
You know, I just you know, when you've had to go through 2 years of recovery, I just think she's a really special and good player, and special for being a comprehensive all-around guard. And in the old days, they didn't have 1s and 2s and 3s and 4s and guards. And she's just a really good, solid, all-around basketball player. So I'm just happy for her that she's healthy and getting back. And it takes time. I mean, I think every player that comes back from any year-long injury, they're always so much better the second year post-op. I mean, she's getting better. You can see her getting better in the films, the videos when she prepared for UConn. She's getting better with every game. She's getting more comfortable with every game. And it's a thrill to have her back. And it's just, you know, it's just unfortunate because, you know, I mean, when I say unfortunate, I really am happy too for what's happening with women's basketball with Caitlin Clark. I'm bringing up Caitlin Clark on a page question for a reason, because Caitlin Clark is doing something. Again, 50 years of coaching, I've never seen a person make that many shots from that range. Obviously, Steph has done it in the NBA, and I like Steph when he was at Davidson, but Clark's doing something. But had this thing been running as a two-horse race, you know, from the get-go, it really would have been cool to watch. And that's just me as a fan, all right? But Paige is different. Paige shouldn't be compared to Kate Clark. Paige is different than Kate Clark, and yet you have a player here that's really, really, really special because of the way she plays the game all around. And that makes it sound like Kate Clark doesn't. See, that's where, you know, and I'm the guy that brought the comparison up, but still, it's just, it's kind of cool to watch, because little girls are out there waiting to talk to Paige and get her autograph, and little girls are out there waiting to get Caitlin's autograph, Kate Clark's autograph, and that's good.
Anything else?
Come on, you in a hurry? Takes us 6 games to get this many people in a row. One at a time. Well, thanks everybody for covering women's hoops. We really do appreciate it, and you know, it's again, I don't know. I just really think I just really want to see women covered, women's athletics covered, and you know, you cover it and people are going to come watch it, and that's why we just really thank you for all your coverage of women's basketball.